Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Katelyn and it's so nice to have you here. I normally don't do two sit-down videos in a row, like back to back on weeks, but that's just how the way the videos worked out this week. Or this month. But yeah, hi, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Katelyn and I am 26 years old. I live in Ontario, Canada. I have a feeling that there might be more people kind of coming into this video. So hello, if you are new, this is not my normal type of content. I normally post vlogs, lifestyle. There's a lot of Disney in the mix. So if that's something that you're also interested, feel free to stick around, subscribe to the channel. But if you're just interested in watching this video to know a little bit more about the 75 Hard Challenge, then just keep on watching and thanks for joining in. But to all my returning subscribers, hi, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for joining. This is really for you guys because I feel like this is a really vulnerable video, and because this is probably going to draw in a little bit different traffic than what my videos normally draw in. I wanted to make sure that my actual real true subscribers would still be interested in seeing this kind of stuff because it's pretty vulnerable, and I'm going to be very honest and open about my experience during this, my experience in general with body weight, body image, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, anyways, thanks guys for joining in. And yeah. Okay, so basically we're going to be talking today, obviously, like you can see with the title, about my experience with the 75 Hard Challenge. So I'm just going to talk about what is it, lay down the rules. I know I've said it a million different times, but basically the 75 Hard Challenge is you are dedicating 75 days to a strict regime, basically, a fitness plan, wellness plan, and it's really about a mental toughness challenge. That's what they really stress in this challenge. I'll leave a link down below of the actual official website of the challenge, but all you have to know really is that there are, I think, 5 rules. So you have to complete 2 workouts a day. One of them has to be outside and they each have to be 45 minutes long. You can't combine them. So they have to be 2 totally separate workouts. You have to read 10 pages of a non-fiction book every day. You have to take a progress picture every day. You have to follow some type of meal plan or diet or routine of some sort with your eating, but it has to be strict. You can't have any cheat days and you can't have any alcohol. You have to drink 1 gallon of water a day. So yeah, so that's what it is. And basically the main reason that people, or that this was created, was to be a mental toughness challenge. So basically you were just being held accountable to see if you could complete all these things. And if you were not able to complete any of the things any day, technically you would have to restart. So then your next day would be, okay, today's day 1, so you have to go. So you could make it 70 days and then forget to take a progress picture, and no, you got to start all the way back from day 1. So that is what the challenge is. Again, I will leave it down below. The main thing I feel like people might be wondering is why did I do it? So one of the main reasons with that was that this year I really wanted one of my goals to just be the healthiest version of myself that I could be. And I feel like I have always kind of gone up and down with my health and wellness and fitness and eating all through my life ever since I was honestly, sad to say, even since I was in elementary school. I would say grade, it's a long time that I've struggled with body image, and how I've had relationships with food, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to get emotional, but anyways, it's just been something that I've struggled with for a really, really long time. And from, I want to say it was 2 years ago, I saw somebody on TikTok, I feel do the 75 Hard Challenge, and I was interested, and I was oh, what's that? So I looked more into it. And if you don't know, I think, like I said at the beginning, we live in Canada, so 6 to 7 months of the year, the weather here is awful. So it's just really cold and snowy and rainy and gross. So I was like, okay, well, I can't really do this like during this time. So if I'm going to do it, I need to do it like in a good time. I need to set it aside and know when I'm going to do it. So anyway, so that was like 2 years ago that I wanted to, and then really towards the end of last year, so around like October, November, I was like, okay, I really want to try and do the 75 hard challenge. And I was just like, I definitely cannot do it right now because it was October, November, it's about to be snowing. There's no way I'm doing workouts outside when there's snow on the ground. And so I was like, okay, right in the new year, once it's like spring weather, I will start the challenge. So I had decided that I was going to start it on May 15th. And my husband, Austin, he also agreed to do it with me. And I really feel like that is like one of the main things that was able to let me really do it, because it's one thing when you live with somebody, like if you're just roommates with somebody and like you make separate meals and you do everything separately, like I think it's easier to kind of regulate what you're doing yourself. But when you're with a partner and like we cook everything together, we eat everything together, it wouldn't make sense for me to be on a really like strict diet and then Austin to not be, or for me to like get up every morning at like 4:45 to work out and then he wouldn't. Like it's just, it was easier to have somebody with us. So the two of us did it together. And yeah, I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see kind of the results that would come from it. Yeah. Overall, how do I feel after the challenge? So today is actually technically day 76. So yesterday was our last day of 75 hard. So today is like the first day of not being on 75 hard. We went out for breakfast this morning to celebrate because we were like, I wanted eggs Benedict. I was like, I just want eggs Benedict with hollandaise sauce. I'm like, that's all I want. But honestly, I felt great. I would say so after the first 2 weeks, I feel like the first 2 weeks it was like you kind of had like a little bit of a momentum because you were like excited for it and like it was going well. And then after like the 3-4 week mark, I was like, okay, like this is gonna be hard or challenging. But then after you kind of get over that small hump, and I really think it was like a very small hump around week 3, it's fine. Like I was feeling super, super energetic, which I could not believe. I was like, wow, like I feel so energetic. I was waking up naturally, not naturally. I was waking up with my alarm, but I wasn't snoozing it as much. There was a couple days. But yeah, like I was just kind of like waking up better. We were eating really, really healthy. I was feeling really good. I know like one of the main things was like I used to always feel so bloated, like no matter what I ate. And I was like, I feel like I just always am going to feel bloated, but it's just because everything I ate wasn't great for me. I also barely drank any water before this challenge. It's actually crazy like how little water I used to drink. So like I feel like that made a huge difference. But overall, like I felt really good during the challenge and like I feel really good now. And yeah, it's just something I want to continue and like to keep going forward, or to kind of just like kind of stay in this sort of like healthy, active lifestyle. Yeah. So a lot of people ask like, is this challenge sustainable? Is this sustainable? It's something you can do every day for the rest of your life? And I'm going to say absolutely not. That's like the whole reason that it's a challenge. Like it's only supposed to be for a designated period of time. And then from there, like you're not really supposed to continue it. I guess you could if you wanted to, but I don't see that it could be sustainable. The main thing is just like logistics. It's like, for example, when we go to visit family who live a couple hours away, or friends who live a couple hours away, if we wanted to leave right after Austin would get home from work, we would, like while we were doing the challenge, we would, right when Austin would get home, I would be like making dinner really fast. We would eat dinner really fast, and then we would drive. And then while we're driving, you can't stop anywhere for food if you're still hungry. We like didn't really stop for coffees much because it was like, there's just sugar and so much of the coffees. And it was just like, you know, stuff like that, like it's like even when you're on like a healthy journey, like you can still have those moments where you can allow yourself to like eat at a fast food restaurant for something, or, you know, go enjoy like an ice cream out for dinner or something like that, you know? So I don't think it's meant to be sustainable, but I will say like it's definitely put into perspective how much I have time for in a day, and I'll get into that later. But like I was thinking before, like there's no way I could work out 2 times every day for the rest of my life. There's no way that I could drink that much water every day for the rest of my life. There's no way I could eat healthy. I mean, I still think that I'm gonna still snack on things, but like those are like the main things. But like looking at it now, like you have so much time in the day. Like everybody is so quick to be like, I have no time, I don't have time, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this. You just make time. Like you just make time. So I think, I don't know, that's kind of going off tangent a little bit, but I think I get more into it later. So biggest tips for completing this challenge. I would say my biggest tip would be to plan everything. Plan when you're going to do your workouts, plan what you're going to eat every single meal, plan your snacks, plan when you have time to read, plan like literally everything. That was like the biggest thing for us. It's like I bought a little notebook, and every single day I had a page for each day, and it was like I knew exactly what we were having for breakfast, lunch, dinner. I knew our snacks. I knew what time I was going to work out. I knew roughly what types of workouts we were going to do. Oh, not we. I keep saying we. What I was going to do. And then like I would just know what book I was reading, like everything. Like I knew a plan. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, because if you don't know, if you're waking up every day and you're like, okay, well, what am I going to eat today? Or what am I going to read today? Or what workout am I going to do today? What time am I going to work out today? It's like you're kind of leaving things up to, well, if you sleep in, like you might not have time to prep your lunch, or you might not have time to grab a breakfast, and then that's going to make you more hungry later in the day, or like things like that. It's like just to plan ahead. Another big thing was that like with the planning aspect of it was like we started in the beginning of May, and it's still pretty cold here in May, and this year we had a really rainy May, so we had a lot of days where like there was a lot of rain. So we were like, okay, if we have to walk in the rain, we will, but we wanted to try and avoid it. So, you know, when we would go to bed the night before, we would check the weather and we'd be like, okay, it's gonna rain at whatever, it's gonna rain at 4 until 10 p.m. It's like, okay, well, obviously we're not gonna be able to do a walk at night, so let's just get up early and we'll do a walk before we leave for work. Just things like that. And like we have a Peloton, so it made it really easy mentally to like know what workouts to do, because they obviously have live workouts, or you can just pick whatever workout you want to do. So a lot of the time, like Austin, what he would do is like while he was at work, he would kind of go through the Peloton app and pick out his workouts ahead of time, so that when he got home there wasn't any thinking about it. He just went downstairs and did his workout. I always knew like I knew what kind of workout I wanted to do, so I'd be like, okay, today I want to do strength, but then I would pick it once I was actually down there, because sometimes I just like wasn't in the mood for certain workouts, you know. So that's one thing that we kind of both did, like similar but differently. But yeah, I think planning is like the key. Like you have to plan what you're gonna do if you're gonna do the challenge. Another big tip is like having someone to hold you accountable. So like I said, Austin and I did this together. So not that we ever needed the motivation to do it, honestly, which kind of surprised me. Like I was really proud of how motivated we both were for the whole thing. But just to have somebody else there to be like, you can do it, or like they're also going through it with you. So like, you know, whatever, like the one day where I was like, I am really not feeling this today. Like this is really bothering me today. I don't want to do this. I just want to lay on the couch. I don't want to work out today. Like, not that Austin had to be like, you can do it, you can do it. It was more just like, he would just be like, yeah, I can sympathize with you. Or yeah, like I know what you mean. Like I felt like that last week or whatever. So yeah, just having somebody else that's going to do it with you. So whether that be like your spouse or a friend or a parent or anything like that, I think it just makes a really big difference, because you have somebody like that's doing it with you. You guys can kind of work as a team, you know, to get things done. Also, as much as I don't think I'm competitive, I am. So like I just was always like, I cannot fail this, because I know Austin won't fail this because he's also competitive. So I was like, I need to do this because I'm not letting Austin do this and me not do this. You know what I mean? So anyways, that was one thing. And then another big tip, slow and steady wins the race. And I know that's like so cheesy, but when I used to work out in the past, let's say I didn't work out for months at a time, where I was just like, I wasn't in a workout mindset, whatever. So then when I would go to work out, I would be like, okay, well, like I need to work out and I need to do this. So I would work out for like an hour straight, and it would just be like crazy intense workouts, and I would just like super bust my ass to try and like, you know, burn as many calories as I could in that one sitting. And then it was like the next day I would be exhausted. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take my rest day today. So then I wouldn't be creating a routine for myself, because I'd be like working really hard one day and then I'd take like 2 or 3 days off, and then I'd have no motivation to start again. Also, it's starting to rain, so I'm sorry if you guys can hear that or if the lighting keeps changing. But yeah, so when we, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So I feel like what I did was I really just stuck to doing workouts where I still felt myself pushing hard, but it wasn't like, I was always keeping in mind like, okay, you have another workout to do later today, so don't kill yourself. Or, you know, you have 74 more days of this to do. Like, don't go crazy on one workout. And like, obviously there was days where like I just had more energy and I spent more time like pushing harder, and like those days obviously were great. And yeah, I was tired some days like the next day, but I think that just like having an overall mindset of like, I would rather just have constant, steady, mediocre workouts than just going heavy for like 2 or 3 days in a row and then being so exhausted that I didn't even want to work out a day. Like, I feel like that was just so much more achievable and like sustainable to be able to complete the challenge. And then another big tip for, I guess this is kind of going back to planning, but like for us, like we didn't do any type of like, I guess our diets were kind of restrictive in a sense of like, we didn't want to have any fast food, and we also didn't want, like, we wanted to try and eliminate sugar as best as we could. We still allowed it like here and there, like obviously we had a lot of fruits, there's a lot of natural sugar in that, and then we had things that were lower sugars, but we really tried hard not to eliminate anything. So I think a big thing for me was like, I'm a huge sweet person. Like I love having a sweet after dinner. I always need like a little sweet treat here and there. And I feel like because I would prep these other little treats to help like subside those cravings, by the end of it, like by like now, like I don't need a sweet treat all the time. Like every once in a while I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of craving one, but I'm not like, I need to have ice cream, I need to have chocolate or whatever, right? So I feel like I would prep things, and if you want or are interested in some of my vlogs in the last couple weeks, I kind of have showed different little things that we've been making to kind of subside those like sweet tooth cravings, so you can go check those out. But like big ones that we would do are like, we did frozen bananas with like peanut butter and chocolate on them, and they're just like a quarter banana with just a little bit of chocolate and peanut butter drizzle. And we would do like these little, I called them like Score Bites basically, or like Snickers bars, but they weren't. It was basically just like 2 crackers with a little bit of peanut butter in the middle, and then we would dip them in dark chocolate. So we did that, and like just little things like that. It just like would make it easier to kind of have those little cravings. But anyway, sorry, I wanted to mention that as well, because if any of my people out there with sweet tooths feel like I could never remove those from my life, you don't have to fully remove them. Like you can still have them, 1, in moderation, and 2, like you can find substitutes and stuff. Okay, so what was the hardest part about the challenge? I would say the hardest part for me would be the nonfiction reading, which is so funny because I'm such a reader. I love reading. I mean, like I truly love reading. I'm just not a nonfiction person, and this year, I said this in my last video, but like I really was gonna see like, okay, do I like reading nonfiction or do I not like reading nonfiction? And I've determined that I don't like reading nonfiction. I would read the 10 pages that I would need to read a day, and I'd be like, yep, that's it, I'm not reading anymore, no thank you. And it really, I think, reflected also on like my regular fiction reading, because I barely read in the last 75 days other than my like nonfiction books. All my other books, like I kind of put on the back burner, and like I would try and start new ones, but I'd be like, I just don't want to read like at all. So I feel like that is honestly, which is kind of funny. Most people would be like, oh, I thought, you know, doing 2 workouts a day would be the hardest, but it was literally the nonfiction reading. Like I just like did not enjoy it at all. What was the easiest? So, I mean, this is kind of a cop-out for me, but I would say the no alcohol was the easiest because we're not really big alcohol drinkers anyways. You know, we would have like, or I guess I need to stop speaking for Austin because he's different, but for me, like I would have a drink, like if we would go out for dinner, sometimes I would like get a fun drink, or like if we were sitting like in the backyard having a barbecue or something, like I'd be like, oh, I'll have like a little like White Claw or something. Like I'm not a big drinker, but every once in a while I would have one, just because I feel like it's one of those things that like you're like, oh, I'll just like have a drink. But like cutting it out was literally not an issue at all. I didn't even think once about it. There was never a time where I was like, oh, I'd really, you know, I really want this, or I like really want that. Like it's just not something in my realm. And I was saying to Austin, I really feel like I don't know if I'm going to completely cut out alcohol from my life in general, because I just feel like I don't love drinking anyway. So I'm like, why bother? But then I also don't want to put like a thing on myself being like, I'm never going to drink. And then let's say we go to Disney and I want to have some type of alcoholic drink somewhere. Like I'm not having like people comment and be like, I thought you said you weren't drinking. I thought you said you didn't drink. So it's like, it's one of those things. So I feel like, you know, on vacation here and there, I'm sure I'm going to have a couple alcoholic beverages, but like, I feel like in my day-to-day life, I have no interest in drinking. So anyways, that was probably the easiest. But I will also say, because that is kind of a cop-out, that one of the things that I thought was going to be hard that was actually pretty easy was doing the workouts every day. I'm shocked to say that, because I am not somebody who likes really used to like to work out. But after like the first like 2-3 weeks, I was craving it. I was craving workouts. I would get home from work from a stressful day and I would just be like, I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to work out, I'm going to blow off my steam, and then I'm going to be fine. And I like loved it. So it was funny. Like I loved getting up in the morning, and that was the other thing. So a lot of these people that I would watch and I would like look up before we started the challenge, like a lot of these people would work from home, or they like didn't really like, there'd be like stay-at-home parents, or you know, they worked for themselves, or they worked for social media, stuff like that, where it's like they definitely have way more of like a flexible schedule where they could work out in the middle of the day, or you know, they didn't have to wake up super early if they wanted to do a workout before they went to work, because they start at 9. So they would really only have to like they'd only have to wake up at like 7:45 to be able to do a 45-minute workout and still be able to work out, or like to make it to their job. I have to be at work for 7:30, same with Austin, and we each live about 30-ish minutes away from our jobs. So we would have to leave our houses by 7 o'clock to get to work. So we would be getting up at like 4:45, 5 o'clock to do our first workout, get ready for work, and then leave. And then when we would come home, we would each do a workout when we got home. I also wanted to throw that in there because like if you're thinking, oh, I'd never be able to do that because I work super early in the morning. So if you work around 7:30 and you have a similar like, oh, I have to drive to get to my work or whatever, it is possible. You have to get up early, but it is possible. And getting up early does get easier. But yeah, I feel like the workouts ended up being a lot easier than I thought they would be. Okay, would I do it again? 100% yes. Austin and I were talking and I was like, would you do it again? And he's like, right now he's saying no, but I really think I would. I really feel like I enjoyed doing it. The only thing that would hold me back would be doing the 10 pages a day of reading. If I could read any book I wanted to read, 100% I would do it because I do that naturally. But I could see myself doing another version of this, maybe modified. Maybe I would do like a stricter diet because the diet that we did was very bare bones. We still followed a diet, but it was very kind of broad. So I feel like if we were to do it again, or if I was to do it again, maybe I would make my diet a little bit more like structured. like than it already was, or you know, maybe I would do something else to try and challenge myself with it, but I could see myself doing it again, yes. But I will say, like I was saying to my friend Claire the other day, like I think I'm gonna still try to continue doing 2 workouts a day. I absolutely loved going for morning walks. I loved having a walk before work. It cleared my head and made me more energized. I also drank coffee twice the whole time that we did the challenge because one, because I had to drink so much water in a day. I was like, I do not want to fill my stomach up with any other beverage other than water. But also, like, I just never felt tired. And I know that there are some people that they're like, I physically could never do that. I could never wake up that early and not have coffee. So I sympathize with you, and I understand if that's how you feel. But like, I honestly, the morning walk energized me enough for my day, and yeah, it was good. So I feel like I will still continue to do, I'm gonna try and do at least 1 workout a day, and then like maybe 2 workouts 5 days a week. I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but I feel like that could be something I would do. I feel like I'm fairly gonna keep the same type of eating like schedule or diet or whatever that we're doing now, other than like I'll allow us to, like, if we have to go travel, like we're gonna have dinner, or like we're gonna, like, you know, eat out if we have to, or you know, if we're going to Disney anytime soon, like I'm gonna let myself enjoy the food at Disney. But yeah, that's like, yeah, I would do it again. Now on to the part where I know everybody is just like here for. I know that most people are probably just like, if you're just randomly clicking on this video, I feel like you probably would be fast forwarding to this part just to see kind of my results. But I wanted to talk about like the weight and like pictures and scales aside. I wanted to talk about like non-scale victories is what they call them. One thing that I wanted to talk about was that when we started this, I physically was not able to do a push-up. I could not do a push-up to save my life. I could start here and I would not even be able to bend my arms like the slightest bit. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to ever do a push-up. Like, I just don't think I have the upper body strength for it. Like, I can't do it. And I am proud to say, after 75 days, I am able to do 5.5 push-ups in a row, which doesn't sound like a lot, but to be able to say I could literally do none to doing 5 in a row, like full push-ups, I'm super proud of that, and I'm very happy with that. So that is one type of result that I had that I was just like not expecting, but I was excited for. Another thing was my heart rate, which I have always had low blood pressure but a high heart rate, which I know it doesn't really make sense, but that's what I had. So anyways, so I just always thought I had a high heart rate. My resting heart rate would, sorry, my camera cut off. My resting heart rate normally would be around like 80, 85. Sometimes it was 90. I know I used to, a lot of the time, especially with my anxiety, like my heart rate would skyrocket just randomly. And I was like, oh, that's not healthy at all for me. But I just kind of thought that was like my normal. But I will say that, I'm trying to find it. So my resting heart rate when we started this was around 93. That was like the average of my resting heart rate, 93. My resting heart rate, let's just say for this week, my resting heart rate is anywhere between 65 to 73 beats per minute. So my heart rate went down 20 beats per minute at the maximum, like at the minimum. So anyways, I just think that is like so amazing that I said I didn't want to get emotional. I just think that's so awesome that my heart health is getting so much better, and I hope it continues to get better, or at least like, you know, stays where it's at now. Like, I'm so happy with having a heart rate at like 65. Like, that's amazing. Resting heart rate, obviously. And I will say too that when I would work out, I would use my Apple Watch as like a heart rate monitor on our Peloton. And before this, like, I would hit the max heart rate so often. Like, it would be like around 180 when I would be like putting like a heavy effort in. And sometimes it would exceed to like 190 almost. But now, like, when I do like a hard ride and like I'm really pushing, it gets like, I don't even think it gets to 170. Like I think it gets to like 160, 165. So yeah, I think that's an amazing accomplishment as well. But okay, on to the actual, you know, the results, the physical results, the things that I was able to tangibly see and feel. Now remember, this girl is still me. Like, I just don't want any hateful comments or anything to be like, wow, like you looked whatever here and you look way better now. Like I know, like thank you for, you know, a compliment, but just be mindful that this is still me. But anyways, I will put up pictures. So obviously every day we had to take pictures. I ended up taking 1 video and 2 pictures every single day because I really wanted to, because you can manipulate, even if you don't think about it, you can manipulate your body, like how you stand to, like, you know, adjust to what you're doing and when you're taking a picture. So I wanted to take a video as well because you're naturally breathing in a video, you know, you're kind of holding yourself the way you would, and I wanted to just take a video and then also pictures. So I will put up a video. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'll put up a video here of my before. So my weigh-in before, this is crazy to say on the internet, wow. When I started this challenge, I weighed 215 pounds. This is the highest weight I have ever been. And this is really when I was like, okay, I need to really reel it in because I could feel myself not being healthy. I would get winded when I would literally walk down the street. Like it was not good. That was like the main reason. So that is my before video. I'll show a couple pictures as well. So yeah, so that is day 1. Crazy. So this is the video that I took today. So today my weigh-in was 195. So I lost 20 pounds altogether on this challenge and I'm so proud of myself. And this is the video today. And then here are some pictures as well. And then I will put them also up side by side on the screen so that you can see comparisons. I really just like, it's so funny, like looking at the pictures, like I know there's a difference, but I feel like there's not a huge difference. But then when I think about the number of like 20 pounds, like I'm like, dang, like I can barely lift 20 pounds when I'm like weightlifting. So I'm just like, that's crazy to me. Like crazy, 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 crazy. So anyways, but yeah, so anyways, that is my video for today. Thank you guys a lot for watching this, being, you know, interested in something that I did over the last 75 days. It was definitely a challenge for sure, but I'm so happy that I did it, and it really wasn't as long as I thought it was going to feel. So that was really nice. But yeah, anyways, if you guys have any questions for me at all about this challenge, feel free to leave it in the comments down below, but also feel free to message me on Instagram if you'd like to keep it more private and personal. I'm open to answering any kind of questions that you have. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Big hugs to everybody. And if you would like to subscribe to my channel for more regular content from me, you will not be getting much more of this kind of content. I will tell you that right now. But if you want like daily vlogs, Disney stuff, this is the place. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.